From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome Studio One. I'm Averi Haugesag and this is Katy Wilson. Today on the show, many people go to Hawaii for a nice tan and a look at the Hawaiian sunset. We'll talk to someone who often looks above the Hawaiian horizon.
Also, people feel safe in familiar environments. We'll take you to a class that introduces what seems like ordinary things to new immigrants. But first, people across the world are breaking away from local trends to eat similar foods. A study published by the National Academy of Sciences found the world is eating 36% more alike. People are consuming more wheat, corn, meat, dairy, and soybeans than before. Researchers claim this could be dangerous if there was a shortage of any of these foods. They stress that relying on major crops could make people vulnerable to sudden changes such as natural disasters and climate issues. A startup real estate company is attempting to make it easier for someone to find a place to live. They find listings that best suit them by collecting data from social media accounts. Users' likes, marital status, profession, and places they check in helps the site determine the best location to fit their interests. The site can even narrow down listings based upon the kind of food someone eats. Researchers say this process will make it easier for people to find neighborhoods that they will feel comfortable living in. Michelle Obama is taking a new step to fight childhood obesity. As a part of her Let's Move initiative, the First Lady proposed regulations that would limit soda and junk food companies from advertising in schools. Companies like Coke and Pepsi would not be allowed to put their logos in cafeterias, gyms, and on scoreboards under these new rules. Some schools are already taking steps to phase out unhealthy foods.
You know, we don't sell a lot of junk food in our facility. You know, all of our Papa's Diet. We have a chip machine and a candy machine here, but it's off during lunch hours, so it doesn't get a lot of use, I don't think.
Many of the companies that this would affect say they support this move for a healthier America. Although there will be limits, junk food companies can still advertise their healthier alternatives at the school's discretion.
For the 5th straight year, North Dakota leads national rankings in job creation. Studies by Gallup show there is a slight increase from last year nationwide. However, the upper Midwestern states recorded the highest results. North Dakota, South Dakota, Delaware, and Minnesota placed top among the 6 states. In addition to being the top states in job creation, the upper Midwest states also ranked the top in well-being.
There are a lot of things to consider when moving. One man is helping make the transition easier. Hamza knows what it's like to move. He moved from Massachusetts to Minneapolis to Grand Forks, North Dakota. Before that, he made a bigger move.
When I came to America, I was lucky because my parents and my siblings were living in America before me.
Right behind me inside Lutheran Social Services, North Dakota, new Americans are learning how to adjust to their life in Grand Forks, North Dakota through a cultural orientation.
Any questions?
These people left behind such hard lives that they refuse to show their faces on camera. To some people, what is taught here may seem to be common sense, but to others, this is a foreign concept.
The snow outside would be reason to leave and go somewhere else, as opposed to, you know, put your hat and your gloves on.
It's a wonderful thing, and being able to accept people into the community is just, and being part of that, of welcoming new Americans here, just gives me a really good feeling that I take with me when I leave at the end of the day.
Hamza helps by translating. Many of the people who take this orientation fled their home country. The program helps with the transition.
To help them through the application process, the interview process, the background checks, all of that, so that they can be considered for third country resettlement.
But sometimes it's kind of hard for other people who don't have family in America that help them with translating or help them go for shopping or take them to the malls or stores.
But it's worth it.
Or they're looking for a new life, new beginning, new start.
People like Hamza help others create a new foundation. The orientation for new Americans is a 3-day course. It is required for them to take within their first 30 days in the country. They can continue services for up to 5 years. And that's the news for now.
All right, thanks, Katy. Let's go now to Timm Uhlmann for the weather news. Tim, how's it looking?
Well, the Northeast is looking a little snowy. They have another snowstorm that hit just at the beginning of March this year, and they've got more snow and some freezing rain as well, which has shut down many local businesses and government offices. Schools are still working on dealing with the 15 days of snow days that they've missed so far this year. Now, this has created many travel conditions that are probably pretty slippery. You don't want to be out in them. Some semis were pulled over to the side, and the police have tried to help them get back on the road. Now, with all this snow and cold, you'd think you'd want to stay inside, but some people are still dedicated to getting in their morning run. Now, this snowstorm actually was expected to go further north, but it tracked a bit further south. This white area here, this brighter white, is about 3 to 6 inches of snow, and this lighter white here is about 1 to 3. And it was expected to move further north, approximately here, but this high-pressure system, which moves air counterclockwise, kept that system a bit further south, and so it actually headed straight towards the capital, where the heaviest snow fell, and Washington, D.C. saw about 6 to 12 inches in that region. Now, when you have that much snow, it also forms ice on the roads, and salt is often used to clear it.
Salt is spread on roads and sidewalks to get rid of ice. It lowers the freezing temperature of water, allowing the ice and snow to melt. With so much snow this winter, many places are running out of salt.
We are right around 200 tons of salt in a year.
Mark Albull is the street superintendent for the city of Grand Forks. He is in charge of all road maintenance and snow clearing in the winter. This includes spreading salt and sand.
We do all of our roadways, our main roadways, our 4 lanes, and a lot of the secondaries are artillery streets.
The sand gives traction while the salt melts the ice. Grand Forks has been fortunate. Snowfall is about average this year.
We haven't missed a beat with it. I can order whenever I feel that we need it, and within a week we'll get our order in.
Much of the East has not been so lucky. Salt mines in Hampton Corners, New York, are working around the clock to keep up with the demand. Several companies have sold out for the season. Fortunately for buyers, the price of salt stays mostly fixed due to government bidding. It may be hard to find, but at least it won't be expensive. This is Scott Wolf, reporting for Studio One.
Morton Salt, based in Chicago, has actually sold triple the normal amount of salt that they sell in a year. That brings us to our weather question of the week. Which state set the record for the lowest temperature ever recorded in the United States? We've got North Dakota, Colorado, Alaska, and New York. And after this year, many of those states probably feel they're the coldest, but Avery, only one of them has the record.
All right, thanks, Tim. Now we're going to throw it over to Katie with the sports story for today. Katie?
Thanks, Avery. Many people like to spend their cold winter mornings inside. Others find their joy out on the ice.
Few things represent the upper Midwest better than the sounds of an outdoor rink. Every year, players gather for a 3-on-3 tournament in this park.
A lot of really great friends and a lot of really good people come out here and want to support us and have a good time.
Even though the ice conditions might not be great, the players' moods certainly are. There are differing opinions on what makes this such a great event.
Getting up at 8 in the morning and playing hockey.
What's the worst thing about it?
Getting up at 8 in the morning.
12 teams showed up for the icy competition. The team in yellow wants to go all the way.
We all matched, and I thought about it. I just heard about this team out in California. They're the Santa Cruz Banana Slugs, and I thought that'd be a good name for the tourney.
The games have 7-minute halves, and they're playing a championship format. The winners go home with more than glory.
We have a golden shovel that hangs up in the restaurant that we put the winning team's name on, and they get to brag about it for a whole year.
Even though bragging rights is a huge part of sports, winning isn't always what's most important.
Camaraderie with the team, with the boys, like to get together, have fun.
And if you listen hard enough, you'll hear much more than a hockey game. I'm Iverick Nelson Bradley, reporting for Studio One.
The tournament is held every year, and this year the Banana Slugs did end up going all the way. Their team name will be engraved on the golden shovel. And that's our sports story for today's show. Avery?
All right, that looks like a lot of fun.
Definitely does.
Thanks, Katie. There is a large asteroid headed our way. Now, before everyone runs out of the room to start on their bucket list, we'll talk to an expert who can tell us what to expect and how scientists plan to deal with this. That conversation is next.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by NDAD, helping others to help themselves.
North Dakota is facing challenges in healthcare delivery. The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is building a place to help meet the state's healthcare needs. In addition to a new structure, we're also building interaction between healthcare professionals while building a workforce through expanding class sizes. We're inspiring our youth to engage in healthcare careers and exploring ways to reduce disease. It starts here and ends here, building a better future for North Dakota.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
The University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration, connecting vision to innovation.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
On Earth, we often forget that there are other solar systems. Researchers go through details that could have a bigger impact on Earth than expected. Asteroid expert Paul Harderson is here to talk to us about his research. Thanks for being on the show today, Paul.
My pleasure.
All right, so kind of tell me, what got you interested in studying space originally?
Actually, from my first memory is I saw the last Apollo launch back in 1973. I was a kid sitting in front of the TV, Indian style, watching this rocket take off, so that pretty much led to where we are now.
That's cool, right off the bat.
Yep.
So UND has an observatory that's a little bit out west of campus. Can you kind of explain to me a little bit what an observatory is? Can you go inside, that kind of thing?
Well, the observatory has been around since 1992. It's about 10 miles west of town on UND land. And what we have there now are 3 telescopes. They're internet controllable, so students at UND that take classes, for example, can log onto their computer, run the telescope from their dorm, and do some work. So our idea here is to make this as easy and convenient as possible so students can focus on the actual science and not worry about the hardware.
Very cool. So what kind of things are they looking for when they're looking through these telescopes then?
Well, the basic projects, we do a little bit of looking at the sun, as far as don't look at the sun with your eyes, of course, but look through the telescope, and we have the right camera for that. We look at asteroids, try to find out their rotation rates, look at stars that pulsate in different ways. So there's a variety of things we do.
So what kind of things do you specialize in specifically with your research?
Well, my main research is looking at asteroids. We use an observatory in Hawaii. And we basically are doing spectroscopy to learn what they're made of. And there's a certain type of spectroscopy, and we basically find out what minerals these asteroids are made of. So you can liken this to rocks in space, you know, big space rocks. And the big fundamental goal here is tying this back to the early solar system and understanding, well, what was the chemistry, the heating conditions, what was it like here when, even before Earth formed and all the planets? Because the asteroids are the building blocks that made the planets.
Okay, so you were telling me that you spend a lot of time out in Hawaii. Why do you do that? Where do you go?
Well, I'm fortunate, you know, in grad school, Hawaii turned out to be the unsung benefit of doing my work. So NASA's only ground-based telescope is on Mauna Kea at 13,800 feet. That telescope has the instrument we need to do this kind of work.
We actually have a picture, it looks like, of where you research. It looks like it's outside. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's at 13,800 feet. It's on top of the volcano, and it's like being on top of, you're on top of a volcano.
So it's beautiful.
It is. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. So what is important about, you were telling me that you research a lot of basaltic asteroids. What's different about those as opposed to other kinds of asteroids?
Well, asteroids are really different. There's a huge variety, and that's one of the things we've learned in the past 20 years is the diversity in their mineralogy, the rock types, the amount of water, ice some of them have is just ridiculously diverse. It's like a wild zoo of different creatures.
Yeah.
And this all relates back to, well, one fundamental question is, well, how many planets like Earth could there be around other stars? Mm-hmm. Because ultimately one of the big questions is we want to find out if there is life out there. Mm-hmm. And that's other missions have been doing that too. Like the Kepler mission has found more, well, hundreds of planets around other stars.
Wow.
And within the next 10 to 20 years, we're going to have the ability to detect Earth-sized planets around other stars. And if we detect oxygen or ozone, then that would be the signature of, well, gosh, we found some place that actually has life as we know it.
Now, what are a lot of the asteroids that are out there, are they dangerous, or are they just kind of out there in space?
Well, there are a bunch of asteroids that are kind of zooming by us all the time. There are about 8,000, more or less, asteroids that zoom around Earth and the inner solar system. And we had one a day or two ago that passed inside the orbit of the moon. So, but these are being looked at. NASA has a program to find all of these so we don't get blindsided. That's always the worry. But the solar system is very dynamic and active, and we do have to watch out for these because we have had plenty of impacts in the past. If you've heard of Meteor Crater in Arizona, that mile-wide crater was hit by a 80-meter iron asteroid.
So are there any chances that there's going to be an asteroid that's hitting anytime soon in the future? I believe that you were saying there was one coming in the next few years.
Right now, nothing to worry about. There's one called Apophis that is going to come very close in the late 2020s. And we have to keep watching this one to see if its orbit changes between now and then.
So scientists can control that? They can kind of change the path?
No, we can't right now. For example, if we found an asteroid, say, a week away from a definite impact, we couldn't do anything about that at all. If we have a few years' notice, then we could possibly do something. All we have to do is change its orbit just a little bit, and it'll miss Earth, and that's probably one of the ways that'll be looked at.
So what do you think the safest place is for an asteroid to hit then?
Well, yeah, if I had my choice for an asteroid to impact, as I think I told you before, and I love Australia, mind you, but it would be in the middle of Australia because it's isolated and there aren't as many people there or life.
Yeah, it's not a big city.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully that won't happen, but you certainly don't want it in the water because you'll have a big tsunami. You don't want it, of course, in the Midwest of the U.S. because we're here.
Yeah. So why do you think it's important for kids and adults to know things about space?
Well, you know, Earth is not the whole universe, and asteroids impact the sun, has solar flares and eruptions that can impact the power grid on Earth. So we live in a dynamic solar system, and we have to watch out what's going on.
Fabulous. All right, thanks for being on the show today, Paul.
Thanks.
Coming up, everything has a beginning. We found a woman who says most dance moves come from the same start. We'll watch as she teaches others the roots of some familiar dance steps.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. is the size of the fight in the woman.
Some consider graduation the end of the college experience. For others, it's just the beginning.
And the university provided an environment where I could grow.
And many years after I graduated, I'm still receiving dividends from my experience as a student at UND.
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association is committed to growing the university by growing the alumni family.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
Admire the faculty. They're the ones that kind of helped push me through this.
Courses are hands-on and interactive. The communication program has so many different facets to it. One of the great things about the staff in the communication department is that they love what they do. They encourage you to really critically think and analyze everything you're learning. They're so into it, and it makes you want to be into it.
If you would like to attend a live show, go to our website at studio1.und.edu.
Many imaginations have wondered what it would be like to travel back in time. In the new movie Mr. Peabody and Sherman, the heroes work in the past to keep things the way they should be in the future. Mr. Peabody, the genius dog, and his adopted son Sherman want to mend a relationship with Penny's parents. Sherman wants to impress Penny, so he takes her on a ride. Before they know it, things get a little out of control. Mr. Peabody comes to their rescue and they travel through the past to save the future. As a result, he faces one of his hardest challenges, parenting. Penny's father, played by Stephen Colbert, also joins the group.
I don't think Mr. Peterson understands why Mr. Peabody, a dog, could adopt a boy. I think my character is a little bit of he's a little bit of an anti-dog bigot at the beginning. And then by the end of it, he comes to understand that we all love our children in our own way.
Mr. Peabody and Sherman is based off the 1960s animated television series Rocky and His Friends and The Bullwinkle Show. The animation team used behaviors of typical dogs along with the super genius aspect to create Mr. Peabody. Mr. Peabody and Sherman comes to theaters on March 7th with a PG rating. Everyone dreams of being a millionaire. A recent Powerball jackpot reached $425 million. It was the 6th largest jackpot in U.S. lottery history. Yahoo News says the chances of winning the Powerball are 1 in 175 million. A lucky Californian matched all 6 numbers, winning and became a multi-millionaire overnight. We wanted your thoughts on how you would spend your winnings if you drew the golden ticket.
Maybe give some money to friends that need it. Try to help out some family that's having some money issues.
I would take my entire family on vacation, both sides. My husband's side and my side, and have a joint big family vacation.
I might build an outdoor rink.
I would never work another day in my life.
You know, I'd probably donate at least like a quarter of it to a good cause. And then the other 3/4 I'd probably give out to like family and then spend a little myself, obviously.
I'd move to Hawaii.
I'd go on vacation, and then I would do whatever I want after that.
Okay, I'd probably pay off my student debts, and I'd get my wife out of the military.
A comment from our Facebook page from Grand Forks, North Dakota. To keep the peace, I would have given it all to the church. But seriously, I would give it all to my local church to fulfill the Great Commission. You invest what you believe in. Dora from Grand Forks, North Dakota says, I'd buy a horse. I've been wanting one since I was a kid. And then I would donate the rest to charity.
People have been dancing through history in some form or another. While it may not always be understood, the impact it has on our society can still be explored.
Dancing is a part of our lives from a young age. Whether for school, at a party, or for competition, it's always about enjoying yourself. For Malika Carter, she had no choice.
Well, you know, you kind of bop around the house to what mom and dad are listening to.
Tonight, the focus is on cultural dance from Africa.
Definitely African dance, definitely.
Malika says its influences can still be seen today after thousands of years.
A lot of people take for granted that they're doing something new, when in fact they're not. They're not doing anything new. They're doing something that their ancestors have done before them.
With a little help from the MC,
oh my gosh, everybody's shy.
Everyone eventually makes it out of their seats.
And I'm really, really glad that a lot of people got on stage with us and danced. It's very energetic.
The atmosphere tonight is upbeat and fun, but Malika makes sure that the big picture is still in focus.
It's one thing to celebrate diversity, but it's one thing also to have social justice and to equalize the playing field.
I think it's really important to go to these events in the community to increase your cultural awareness so that you can help to promote diversity in the community.
Malika says something as simple as dancing is a great start.
It helps people to understand the other, that they've been probably othering all their lives, and now all of a sudden they realize, wow, you have that in common with me.
Malika says exploring other types of music creates connections between cultures. Those connections can start with a simple two-step. With photographer Eirik Nilsen Bratley, I'm Marty Mueller.
During the show, the group also talked about how African dance is a direct reflection of their culture. Each village dances differently, making them unique in more ways than one. You know, Avery, looks like they're having a lot of fun moving and grooving.
It looks like a blast. I couldn't stop watching them.
Right.
You know. Now Tim joins us in our studio with a final look at the weather. Tim, how's it looking?
Well, Katy and Avery, for the southwest, it's looking like it's going to be quite a bit warmer, and up towards the Great Lakes and Michigan areas, it's going to be quite a bit colder than average in the next week. Now, the precipitation map's a little different. It's going to be drier from the Texas all the way to California, with a wetter spot in the southeast and towards the northern central plains. That brings us back to our weather question of the week, which state set the record for the lowest temperature ever recorded in the United States, and the answer is C, Alaska. Now that's going to be minus 80 degrees there, so even though we've had a cold winter, they've got it by far.
Well, we thought it was cold here in Grand Forks.
Yeah,
Negative
sure.
80 is really cold. And that's our show for today. As always, you can follow us through social media or get more information on our website. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.
We'll see you next time.